All right. It's good to see you guys. I thought we had good work today. The heat was out for sure, and I thought the on both sides of the ball, I thought the execution was good on both sides. I think the energy kind of lagged at times. I think energy-wise, was probably not our best day, but I thought they were able to persevere. And there's highlights in the throwing game. I thought that both Blake and KD um, put some balls on point, and we were able to make some contested catches. I think the protection is still improving. I think the run game, in terms of one cut and get downhill and fall forward and all that, I think has got a ways to go. Um, I think the blocking on the perimeter with our receivers still has a ways to go. I think defensively, I think the ability to kind of manage the collection of calls that we have and get in and out of things on shifts and motions and communicate and be all on the same page is way impressive. I thought that they were able to hustle around and make plays. I thought they were able to make some timely plays, and so there's a lot of good there. I think for them to kind of go through hard situations and kind of have the maturity to not have self-inflicted wounds is still a big area for growth and is a concern, kind of going into the season. So with that, take any questions you guys got.
Dave, as far as Blake's progress, are you liking what you're seeing?
Yeah, Blake has, you know, the 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 math that we kind of keep up with the throw game has been impressive, and so completion percentage and ball getting out of his hands and just all the metrics are good. But then there's times on the field to where it's like, wow, he got out of that and made that throw and got it where he needed to get it and the velocity of it and all that. So there's some of those moments that are cool to see. But the thing I'm most proud of is just his leadership and there's a timing and kind of an art of when to say something, how to say it, and to be authentic with everything that you got. And I think he's learning that, and so I'm proud of him for it.
Coach, what was with them going full speed today, how much does that help having the film with like a full speed scrimmage to be able to break down and take another look at how they're doing the drills each day moving forward?
Yeah, I appreciate that. We had a lot of plays today. This was about 125 plays, I think, and you could feel the difference when there was, when there's no cloud cover, and then when the clouds would roll in and all that. And I told them at the end, we don't control the clouds. We have to control, kind of our own actions and attitudes and all of it. And so I think all of it's good. We've talked about it before, like to get where you're going, you got to start where you are. And I think, this is a good reminder of kind of where everything's at. And I think, for us to get to the level of, it's a tight game, it's on the road, we're in a storm, right? Can't see, north from south, right? And you can't hear, from left from right. In order to get where you need to be and do what you have to do, I think all of that, we have a ways to go with that.
Dave, you got Snacks at cornerback now, is that right? And Walton at the hybrids. What made you decide to do that?
I think Al, his strengths or some of his strengths are going to be his instincts. He is a ball hawk, and he's always around it, and good fortune generally follows. But then I think there's a great amount of physicality with him, and last year as a corner he was one of our better blitzers, and we bring the corner quite a bit, and so his his transformation into that star position was an easy one. And then Aranda just has such great speed and athleticism. He was bringing physicality for sure at the start, but there was just a need for some skill and some speed on the perimeter, and he's really done well there.
And how's Al doing? He's got a wrist injury?
Yeah, so we're expecting Al to be back next week.
Hey, you mentioned some of the struggles running the ball today. Has there been anyone in that running back room that's kind of emerged as a front runner, and what are you hoping to see out of them?
Not yet. I think there's been a good rotation, and I think there's been I think winning at every level is a thing, and I think winning in the meeting room is a thing. You're getting all this information, you're collecting all these dots, and then can you put it into your own language? Can you teach it? That would be connecting the dots. And so there's winning at that level. There's winning in a walkthrough, paying attention, and if you're not taking the rep, your eyes are on the guy that's taking it, and you're taking a mental rep. Winning in a Tuesday practice is a thing. That second team period, when it's been whatever the heat has been, and finishing strong is a thing. Then a Saturday scrimmage is yet another. And I think some of those previous stages we've been able to win. We did not today in this setup, and so we got another shot at it. And I think we've have to kind of stay. The thing is, you're on the path, you're off the path, get back on it. It's as simple and as hard as that.
With the running backs, do you have a preference, running back by committee, or more like one or two featured backs?
Whatever gives us the best opportunity to win. And I think there's talent there for sure. I think there has to just be a consistency and an aggressiveness that has to kind of come together.
With the wide receivers, how do you balance keeping an open competition versus having Blake Chapin build rapport?
Yeah, that's a good question. And so I think just the more you can throw it, the more you can work those combinations. And so we have purposely tried to have more team passes, right? More reps with our Skelly, kind of move it around different spots so that he can work with those different groups and see if there's a matchup or a pairing that's better than others.
Dave, who's doing well at safety right now?
There's a fair amount of talent there. Devin Lemire, Devin Bobby made some good plays today. Mike Harris has really shown up. I think we're still trying to get Mike on the straight and narrow off of football, but there's some positive things. I think the ability to fully find a home in base and then in the sub packages, and since there's such a wide variety of guys and skill level and talent, I think we're still looking for roles, and so the hope is by the end of next scrimmage we have that.
Dave, how valuable is it to have a guy like Dillon that's been through it a couple of years, kind of knows that defense and can now teach it to other guys?
And he does that. I think Dillon makes time to make his own cuts. He studies it. We talked about, you get all this information, you're collecting dots and putting it together, and being able to teach it is the connection of the dots, and he does that. And so what a valuable lesson for some of our younger guys. And so he's being a mentor to them, and I think he's well on his way to having a really good season. I think his ability on defense to, if there's a shift and a change of strength and then a motion and all of it, he can spit all that out and do it with a calm about him to where guys can get in and out of a couple defenses and not be a thing.
Dave, I saw that Taekwon caught a touchdown pass the other night.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen's going to play tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been able to keep up with any of these guys in preseason, or just no time for it?
No, I have, yeah. Anytime that our guys are doing well, I reach out to them. The start of camp, reached out to them, just way proud of them. I think for some of them, they dreamed about it, but I don't know if they really thought it was a realistic thing. I don't know. I think if you asked them, they'd probably say yes, but I think that, it was, that pro day and everything, I could see their faces and that this is real, dude, and this is what happens, man, when you do your deal, right? And you find out who you are and you live it out. And so it's just so cool. And to see Ty block, catch, and do all of it, and then to hear everything. I've a few friends on that staff over there in Houston, so to hear everything about PD, just way excited for him.
Talking about current people catching the ball here at Baylor, how do you feel like the receivers are doing heading into fall, and have they really established that relationship, you think, with Blake so far?
They have. I appreciate the question. I think in terms of making contested catches, I think in terms of route running, I think in terms of getting off a press, in terms of high pointing the ball, in terms of the competitiveness that relates to catching, I think they've been doing an outstanding job. They're playing hard, and I think they're really playing for Dallas, Baker. I think, or offensively, there is a fair amount of formation variety and a fair amount of shifts and motions, and they are working their way through that. And I think, some of it is when that is a struggle to not let that affect, the catching and the running and all the other stuff. And so, you're at that part in camp to where, the water gets a little bit muddy, but I think, how we come out of it is really, really the whole thing. So we can, get spit out the other side and be a whole new player, a whole new team. I'm excited for that.
With as much experience and talent as you have on the offensive and defensive fronts, how fun is it to watch them go against each other, and how much does it help them to have live reps against people of that level on the other side?
Yeah, the O-line and D-line particularly, I think the talent there is real, and there's a great scouting report on the other side, and so you take any O-lineman and they can give you the rundown on their counterpart on the other side in terms of their base move, their counter move, right? When it's a play action pass, what they like to do. When it's a naked, what they like to do, a bootleg or something. So all of that, they know it. And so you're playing best on best, and you're playing fastball pitcher versus fastball pitcher. And so you can't help but get better when it's that way. And so you were getting some of that in the secondary as well, right? With young guys, with freshmen, redshirt freshmen, or sophomores on the outside, and so it's good to see. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it. Dillon, what are you seeing? Do you like the progress you've seen in the last week or so?
Yeah, so definitely progress being made. Really proud of the young guys that have kind of taken a step and really taken charge of their growth process. A few names that come to mind are Alfonso Allen, Romario Noel, a lot of those young DBs like Devin Neal. Aranda Johnson has done a great job. So really proud of the way that those guys have progressed and kind of taken just a really a great learner's mindset to the game. I think they've really become students of the game over the past, we're only 9 days into camp, but I think they've had a great 9 days, and we're going to continue to grow if they continue treating their work like they are now.
From a lot of your teammates that we've talked to so far, they've said you've been kind of that role model for a lot of those younger guys to look up to. How do you kind of go into fall camp and the rest of this season kind of taking on that responsibility?
Yeah, I would say it's a responsibility, but I think it's just serving the guys kind of around me, It's asking what they need. It's asking if I can help them do anything to help them learn the defense better, if I can help them with a technique here or there. And when I ask those questions, I really want to answer the question. And so just having that kind of teacher's mindset once you know the material, and helping everybody around you. And I got that from Jalen Petrie. I got that from Terrell Bernard. That's kind of the culture that we've built at Baylor. And I'm just really proud to be a part of that and to be a part of that servant leadership mindset that Coach Aranda preaches.
What are things you want to do better, Dillon, you personally?
Yeah, everything, certainly. But some areas to note are probably leverage in tackling, leverage in pass coverage, whether that's zone or man. Using my hands a little bit better in the passing game, wrapping up in tackling, running through tackles, and just overall playing faster. I think as you get older, you start to understand the game a little bit. And so we talk about just the loop of learning. And so just becoming so that you can play green and not really have to think about what you're doing. It's funny, back when Baylor basketball went on their run to win the national title, it was publicized that Macy Teague had read the inner game of tennis, and so I'm reading the inner game of golf right now, trying to follow in his footsteps. So and a lot of that is just taking the thinking out of the game. Hey, you know how to play the game. You've grown up doing it. There's no reason to doubt yourself. You're at this level, and everybody's skilled, but I think it's the mindset that really sets you apart. And so obviously I'm confident in my mental abilities, confident in my physical abilities, and just letting myself go and play has been the biggest thing.
What was it like for you guys today to just be back on this turf? You had a few people in the stands. Did it feel more real?
Yeah, we had a couple days a couple days ago we had a night practice here, and that was pretty cool. It's like throwback to, I mean, we kind of lose track of days in camp, but it felt like Friday Night Lights. Like it was a good feeling to get back on the turf out here. And obviously McLean is a special place to all of us. Something we talk about is how much we want to protect McLean and come in here and treat things. I mean, obviously we have a focus when we step on the practice field, but things are a little bit different when we step in McLean. And when we step on this turf, everything's intentional, and we want to really put our brand on tape and make sure that we're playing Baylor football and being intentional, focused, and driven in all that we do.
Dillon, I know you haven't had a chance to watch the film, obviously, the scrimmage yet, but what are some of your initial takeaways from the scrimmage today?
So initial takeaways, I think we could do a better job communicating. Obviously, I think any defensive mind or coach or player knows that the first scrimmage is always going to be a little bit rocky when it comes to tackling. And especially with the rules now with camp, like we don't get to wear full pads all the time. And so you can practice tackling all you want on bags or even on men, but until you get into a full speed situation, it's just not the same. And so we have a lot of learning to do from that perspective. And then also when we get into move the ball periods, like before this, it's like, hey, it's 3rd and 10. And then again, it's 3rd and 10. Again, it's 3rd and 10. So it's a bunch of 3rd and 10 calls in a row. But now we're going actually through a game flow. And so it's 1st and 10. Okay, maybe we got a sack and it's 2nd and 12 and we want to pressure them. Or maybe we want to drop back into coverage. And so it's going through those game flows and kind of learning how those things go, because especially for young guys, it's really valuable to kind of have that mindset and just go through things logically the way they would be in a game. And that's quite a bit different. And there's a lot more mental hoops to jump through from the standpoint of, I mean, obviously the calls are very different styles, and so there's very different techniques involved. And so when you're playing one technique on one play, you have to make sure to kind of flush it, and then next play it's blank canvas and we're going to play that play. So it is quite a bit different.
Looking across at the other side, what kind of stood out to you about the offense going against them?
Yeah, the offensive line is playing really fast, and I mean, obviously I enjoy that. It's a great challenge, and I think it makes us better defensively. The front seven, that's really fantastic. And then, I mean, Coach Grimes is always scheming. He's always being creative. That's always, I mean, kind of a joy. We had a team meeting, and there was an interview of a guy that got knocked out, and he said, like, of that moment, I'm a fan because I'm a fan of the game, like a fan of the fight game. And so, like, when we get hit on big plays, like, sometimes you just have to kind of like put your hands up and be like, hey, I'm a fan of the game. Like, that was a great call by Coach Grimes. Like, really enjoyed that play because when they start pulling guards and stuff, like, that can be really difficult as linebackers. And so obviously you're going to move into the next practice and get on the whiteboard and draw that up. But really proud of how they're progressing, and Blake Shapen has done a fantastic job of taking a leadership role for the offense. And I mean, there's so many names I could name, but their communication and their execution, their energy, it's been really fun to kind of butt heads with them for the last 9 days, and we'll continue to do that as camp continues.
Jacob, two very experienced lines going against each other.
Mm-hmm.
How's that been this first week or so of camp?
Yeah, I say it all the time. I mean, the best line we're going to go against is in practice every day. So it's only going to make us better. I think Apu is probably the best, like, true zero or shade guy in the country. So I think he's making me better every single day, and I think our whole D-line's making our whole O-line better each day.
And what are you seeing from Blake?
Seeing the confidence grow, the leadership grow. I mean, kind of last year he wasn't really thrusted into position, but now he is, and I think he's really growing, and he's really getting into it, and I think he's just getting better every day.
Jacob, can you see the O-line working together, meshing together maybe better even than they did last year?
Yeah, I mean, just spending more time together. Me and Grant just being here longer, new guys coming in that were already here, I guess. But I think we're definitely getting along a lot better, and then our chemistry is obviously better because of that.
For scrimmage, what do you feel like the offense as a whole is right now?
I think we're in a good place. I mean, we're early in camp. I think we're 3 weeks away from the first game. So, I mean, it's just growing every single day. It's hard to really spot where you're going to be week one of the camp, because I think that's what we're just finishing up right now, I guess. Practice 7, I think that was. But, yeah, I think we're coming along nicely. There's still some things, obviously, you got to fix, and things you want to obviously improve on and things you want to focus on. But I think we're in a good spot right now.
This O-line is getting so much attention nationally coming into this year. How are you guys? Are you listening to much of that, or how are you handling it?
No. I mean, we don't really care about that stuff. I mean, we're in Waco, Texas. It's not a big city. Not a lot of news coming in and out. So we try and just keep our heads down and work. I mean, that's kind of just what we've always been as an O-line, and what I've always been like. So we don't really like to listen to that stuff because that stuff changes every day and things like that. People like you, people don't like you. So we don't really care about that stuff at the end of the day.
What have you thought about the running back room so far? Who should we be watching?
I think all our running backs are great. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. They're all super good, and they all have like their own, advantages and disadvantages. But I think they're all really good overall, and I think whoever goes out there is going to be amazing, and whoever we choose. But I think it could be anyone right now. I think a lot of guys are fighting for it, and I think that's great. I think that's just going to build competition for the spot, and I think the best guy is just going to play every single down.
Kind of going along with that, do you think there's more depth this year at the running back position? I mean, obviously, Abram took over a lot of the load. I mean, is it going to be kind of a committee, you think?
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, we're a week into camp, so it's hard to tell. But just from what I've seen different guys play really well and things like that. So I really don't know who it's going to be because I'm not in the running back room every single day. Most of the time, I barely even see them until they're whizzing by me. So I can't really tell who's gonna be the guy or what's gonna happen with that. But I think we have a good group of backs, and like I said, whoever comes out is going to be amazing.
Jacob, the players launched a Waco NIL Club website the other day. That's something you guys are pretty excited about?
I mean, I've heard some talk about it and things like that. I think a lot of guys, just especially right now, I think that comes out in the summer. I think maybe might be a little more focused on that. But right now, I think guys are really just more focused on practice and the season and things like that.
As for you guys on the offensive line, I know this time last year was a lot of moving around, moving pieces. Are things starting to solidify about who's going to be playing where, or what kind of ideas do you have on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's some solidified positions, things like that. But I mean, nothing's ever really safe, especially when we're 3 weeks away from the first game. We still have time to move things around, see how things work, things like that. But yeah, I mean, we have a great group of guys. So, I mean, great players are going to come out every single day and play hard. So things can change all the time, things like that. So yeah, I don't think anything's like too solid, but I mean, we have great players. So I mean, I guess a solid unit, meaning we're not going to change too much from the solid unit I guess we have now.
How much comfortable are you at center now, a year later than you were last
Yeah,
time?
I think just trusting myself a lot more and trusting the offense and trusting my technique and things like that. Last year, you're kind of like doing stuff. It felt like everything I was doing it for the first time. Whenever you do something for the first time, you're not always sure about it. So I think giving it a second time and giving it a second thought and seeing it a second time, I think has just really helped me grow my confidence and my trust and everything.
Building off of last year, what's that next step for y'all as a unit to take this year?
I mean, it's the same goals every single year. We want to keep our guys safe. I mean, that's the main goal. So, I mean, if we can improve our efficiency and keeping our guys upright, whether from sacks or from TFLs or anything like that. So just, I guess, improving on those numbers. But, I mean, at the end of the day, we're just trying to keep our guys safe. And if we can do that better, we're going to try and do that better.
You feel like y'all made some progress today with this scrimmage?
Yeah. I mean, this is the end of, I guess, week one. And everybody's, working hard out here in the sun. It's super hot out here. So we're just getting ready for the season. And I think a ton of guys got better. A ton of young guys, I think, stepped up, played well, that you're not used to seeing, and that might come out just when, people start tackling and things like that. So guys start becoming more football players rather than just like technicians out there during practice. So I think it was good to see that and seeing guys get better through that.
You touched on Apu. Is there anybody else on the defensive side that really stood out to you today?
I mean, I go against Gabe Hall and Apu every single play. So, I mean, those two guys are amazing, and I think obviously both are two of the best in the nation, I think. So, yeah, I mean, kick a wrong with anybody on D-line, but those are two guys I go against the most, so I give those guys the most props the most.
We talked to Gabe. He said it's like 50-50 when he goes up against Connor.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many – a true 50-50. I mean, how can you really determine that with the plays and, I guess, what assignment you have there and what you're really trying to achieve with that play? So, I mean, defense is going to say that. They're going to say 50-50. Which is a good success rate for defense. But I think it's all determined on that. I think Connor would probably say it's not that either. But you know how defense guys are. They're going to say it's 50-50 just because they like that number and they think they're in their gap, but we're not even running that gap, so it doesn't matter.